Hello and welcome to my lecture review for the CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701. This is a Pearson VUE textbook, which is the cert guide to CompTIA Security Plus. This is written by Lewis Herman, ISBN number 0138293082. So I'm going to be doing lecture reviews for all of the individual chapters. It is imperative that I point out a few things. One of the big ones is, first of all, Pearson VUE owns all copyright of all of this material. All I am doing is I'm taking their official PowerPoints and I am providing my own video lecture for courses that I teach that use this book. Again, Pearson VUE owns all rights to this material. All I am doing is taking their official PowerPoints and providing my own video lecture. So with that said, let's jump in and let's see what we can do. Alright, Chapter 1, Comparing and Contrasting the Various Types of Controls. So in this module, we're looking at control categories and control types. So let me grab my pen. Alright, so normally we have certain types of controls. These are the big four. Oftentimes you'll see them kind of on a different way. You might see them as managerial / administrative. And then that feeds into technical and operational. And that leads into physical. So what do these mean? So administrative or managerial are the policies. The technical and operational could be the implementation of said policy. And if there is a physical component, that would be under the physical. So let's give an example. Password policies. Maybe your organization has a password policy. Well, the policy, the paper policy in the handbook, that'd be a managerial or administrative control. That might say all users will have 8-character passwords. All users will not be allowed to use the last 5 passwords. All users must have a uppercase, lowercase, special character. Again, that would be the policy. Now, the technical or operational control would be the implementation of that managerial or administrative control. Let's say you're using Active Directory. That would be the development of a group policy object, technical control, that would implement what was defined or scoped in the admin policy section. So the big takeaway here is the managerial and administrative ones are actually what defines the scope. And then the technical and operational is implementation of said boundaries. Technical controls, authentication, auditing, cryptography, it's anything that are implemented on the technical control or the technical systems. RAID, session locking, firewalls, things like that. But all of that has to be off of the managerial controls, and they're going to reflect the decisions made by the managers and the executives. Again, this is going to be the paper type policies, the ones in the handbook. And these controls focus on like risk management, data security, things like that. Policies and procedures, awareness training, things like that. Guidelines. Again, sometimes referred to as administrative controls. So they're managerial or admin. This is always first. Managerial / admin controls, always first. And then from here, technical and logical controls can be developed. So, example of managerial control. Another one might be spam and spam over instant messaging. We might have a policy that says only send X amount of emails, only send X amount of messages to an employee within a given time frame. And that might then develop a technical control that might limit how many messages you can send at a time within a certain time period, things like that. Operational controls are carried out by people rather than the technical system. So this could be user training, computer support, designing, incident handling. So again, normally technical and operational controls are kind of put together. And then we have our physical controls. These are going to be the first line of defense controlling access, physical access to an organization. Locks, ensuring gates are there, ensuring locks are functional, securing physical equipment through a physical means, surveillance, could be logging with surveillance, things like that. So these types of systems allow for the physical protection. Now we have different forms of control types. We have 5 main types of controls: preventative, deterrent, detective, corrective, directive type controls. And again, we're going to dive into all of these because it's not as simple as developing a type of control. We have to know what type of control and then what type will actually function correctly. Because you can have physical controls that are preventative and deterrent and detective. So understanding the control types will play a better role in understanding the controls as a whole. Alright, so preventative controls. Are you doing next slide? There we go. Preventative controls. Let me grab my pen. They are implemented proactively to thwart an incident before they occur. Access lists are good preventative control. Prevent your access before you can do anything. Fences. So again, they prevent you from going too close to a building. These are preventative controls. Again, proactive to stop an incident before it occurs. A deterrent control aims to deter the threat actor from launching offensive assaults on an environment. This is very close to a preventative control, but a deterrent control focuses on discouraging the attacker because the control exists. Examples: alarm system signs. You might put an ADT sign in your front lawn. That is a deterrent because they say, hey, if you break into this property, we have an alarm system. So we discourage the action by providing a deterrent control. A web banner that unauthorized login attempts are monitored. Those are good ones. So again, the discouragement portion is key in the deterrent control. A detective control are designed to detect and monitor behavior and other hazards. They issue alerts about failures. Normally, they're valuable during an attack and for post-incident analysis. Logs are great detective control. Audit logs, monitoring, alarms, surveillance, IDSs, IPSs, all of these are good detective controls. They're used to detect and monitor. Then we have corrective controls. They're meant to be implemented after an incident to limit damage and facilitate quicker recovery. Essential backups. That's a good one. So if something does happen, do we have a backup? Are we able to recover? Maybe a hot site. If our primary location goes down, do we have a way to be operational tomorrow? That would be a hot site. Maybe if we know that a computer gets a virus, we quarantine it. So quarantining infected devices, those would be corrective controls. Again, these are controls implemented after a situation. Compensating controls. These are controls that basically are implemented to meet security requirements that are impractical or challenging to implement. So alternatives to costly or difficult to deploy securities. So maybe we want to implement X control, but it's too expensive. So we implement Y control in conjunction with Z control, and together they may be comparative to X control. We do want to use these with caution, as they do not provide the same level of protection as a replaced control, but again, they typically try to provide same level or similar level of protection. And we're going to go into these a little bit deeper in a later module. So now we're just doing a brief overview. Lastly is a directive control. These guide the operation and use of systems within the organization. These are going to be the standards, policies, procedures, trainings. So again, these are more the operation and use of systems. All right, key terms: technical controls, managerial controls, operational, physical, deterrent, detective, corrective, compensating, and directive controls. Again, as always, Pearson VUE owns the rights to all of this. I'm just providing a lecture review to the official PowerPoints they provide. All of my lectures are based off of the book that is assigned for my class. Thank you. All right, that wraps up this module. If there's questions, concerns, or issues, please feel free to reach out. Remember, I'm here to help. All you have to do is ask questions. Thank you.